Welcome to live stream number 72, Racing the Wind with Corky Siegel, who has more wind than this man.
Trick me. What I'm going to do, by the way, at the next live stream, which is, let's see, this is Tuesday, so Friday, is talk more about the Steve Goodman, John Prine, and Jethro Burns session that I had, which changed the way I play music. And I'm just going to give you a little hint, and I'm going to get it into more deeply on Friday. Cool. But it's this kind of a thing.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, it's like, so here's this riff, and it has even eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So it has a certain amount of energy. If instead of this, I do this, So what happened at that session, and I'm going to get into it more on Friday, but John Prine played even eighth notes. Jethro played swing eighth notes. So I asked John, could you play it even? He said, sure. Could you play it like Jethro playing swing? He said, sure. And he went. And I said, Jethro, could you play it even like John? And Jethro went, sure. But what happened is when they played it together in their own way, it was astounding. And this is because it adds energy. When you vary the rhythm, it adds energy. So here's this. Even eighths. Watch. But you don't necessarily want to just play uneven against even. You want to vary it. So listen to the energy that comes out of doing this. So that's what I'm going to talk about.
Amazing.
And I'm going to do it with this tune, Twisted, because it works with vocal and harmonica and everything. And then I'm going to tell you the secret. This is a very advanced technique, but there's a very simple technique that does the same kind of a thing I'm going to share with you on Friday. Well, if I jumped in the river, babe, I bet you'd let me float away and drown. If I jumped in the river, babe, I bet you'd let me float away and drown. You say you love me, baby, but I never see you around. Well, you're just trouble, baby, swinging way up in the thistle tree. You're just trouble, babe, swinging way up in the thistle tree. My trying to get to you might tear me up in an injury. time I see your face, my love life flashes before my eyes. Every time I see your face, my love life flashes before my eyes. Your words are so haunting, baby, but all twisted up in lies. Goodbye, baby. Goodbye, heartburn and deception. Goodbye, baby. Goodbye, heartburn and deception. You learn something new every day. Today is no exception. Story time.
Story time.
Story time.
Do you want to?
What's the name of this?
It's called Racing the Wind.
Ah, yes. Racing the Wind. We haven't talked about this before. Shall we go in the... Let's go in the new story time room.
Okay.
And I'll meet you in there. I have to get ready.
Okay.
Go ahead, take everyone in the story time room.
Okay. All right. Let's go. In this story time room. Are you ready? It's so beautiful today. It was 65, so there won't be a fire lit in the fireplace today.
Here I come.
But it's
Where do you want to sit?
so gorgeous. Why don't you sit right there in that
Sit here?
nice story time
Is
chair?
this a safe one to sit?
It's a safe chair.
Okay, not that one. This one. Okay, story time. Okay, we talked about Key West before, Key West, Florida, where we met Shel Silverstein. We were hanging with Shel on the beach. We were going to write a song together. Holly was teasing him unbelievably well. And there were some windsurfing boards. We never tried it. And someone comes along and said, you should try this. So we went out and we tried windsurfing and pretty much kept falling in. But we got a couple seconds of feeling that wind pulling the board. And we were hooked. When we got back to Chicago, we were looking to take windsurfing lessons. And we hooked up with a guy named Warren Tanaka, who gave us lessons. He became a very, very, very close friend, he and his family. And we were learning to windsurf. And one of the nice things was we used to have picnics every Wednesday at the Evanston Beach. And Ernie Banks would join us for the picnic. So we got to hang out with Ernie Banks, and he would come and come to some of our chamber blues concerts. And one time we were on the beach in Evanston, and with our friend Frank DeMond from the Preservation Hall Jazz Band, who was staying with us.
Who's the trombonist.
Yeah, and he wanted to come, and he said, I'd love to come and watch you guys windsurf. And of course, we were just learning, and it was just a new sport. And Frank comes with us, and he's sitting on the beach, and we're out there, we had one board, Holly and I, and we were trading trips, back and forth. And Frank said, hey, you mind if I try it? And we're thinking, well, sure, Frank, you could try it, but you're probably going to have to get a rescue boat because you have to learn how to turn around. And he says, well, I think I could figure it out. And we're thinking, oh my, someone who's never windsurfed before, he's going to get on this and he's going to head out to, Michigan. So he gets on the board. He doesn't want any help from us. He sails out and we're thinking, man, he's going way out there. He turns around and comes back. Like he's been doing it his whole life.
That's perfect.
Frank.
And it was wavy too, I might add.
Yeah, Frank. He said, well, when windsurfing was being invented, when the one fella was a surfer and the other fella was a sailboat fanatic, they were really good friends and they used to argue about which was better. And one day we were all at dinner and these two guys said, you know what, let's make a combination of sailing and surfing. And that's how windsurfing was invented. And Frank was their guinea pig. So I already knew how to do it.
You really fooled us.
So one day at this beautiful French restaurant in Chicago called the Creperie, with our friend Germain, I bought a birthday present for Holly. Today is actually her birthday. I got a big sail for her, and I hung it on the ceiling of the restaurant. And we sat under that table for dinner. And I kept saying, Holly, and I figured she'd notice it, and she never did. And we're halfway through dinner, and I said, boy, the lighting is really amazing in here, isn't it? And she'd look up and didn't even notice. She didn't even notice. And finally, we had to point it out to her. And we were in a lot of regatta races. Holly and I were very much into windsurfing. I'll show you a picture of her and of me before we go back to the last song. But we were really into windsurfing. But we remember one friend of ours who, I think his name was Abercrombie.
Yes, the Abercrombie, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, he was a friend. And we're somewhere in Florida, Marathon, Florida or something.
No,
Plantation.
Isla Mirada.
Isla Mirada and Plantation. And he would show up
It was Isla Mirada.
with all these windsurfing boards and sails. And he'd sit on the beach and his butler would bring the board and sails down.
Help him into his wetsuit.
Set it up, helped him into his wetsuit, set it up, put the board out in the water and held the sail up so that he could step on and sail away. It was
Lightly on the board.
We loved it. And the people who were the distributors of the board here in the United States were the Lepmans, the whole family of the Lepmans, Dick and Jenna. We used to call them Chicken Dinner. But we love the family so much. Dick and Jenna have since passed, but Bob and Adele and the whole family, we loved them so much. And they, in the summer, lived in their relatives. They owned it, but it was originally their relatives.
Grandmothers, was their grandmothers.
Yeah, the name was Loeb. We don't want to talk about that? Okay, edit. And so...
But the house in Charlevoix was 17 bedrooms. It was actually an original villa from the 1600s that was brought over by ship, stone by stone. And it is still there. It's quite phenomenal. It's called Loeb Farms. So
and we
if
used
you go to
be,
Charlevoix, you can see this magnificent place.
But because we were really close friends and we were going on all the regattas and sometimes I'd play music for them, that we would be invited to a lot of their parties because they were all windsurfing parties at the castle, and sometimes we'd get to stay overnight there or spend a few days. It was really an amazing experience.
Dick and Jenna called it their summer cottage.
Their summer cottage. But the story, we're going to end the story on this little situation. So, first of all, I just thought of something else, Holly. When we were sailing in Isla Mirada,
Yes.
you had left your sandals
Correct.
under a palm tree.
At this exclusive resort
We went back 5
where the
years later.
Abercrombies were staying.
We went back 5 years later, and the sandals were still under the palm tree.
same palm tree, if you can imagine that.
So anyway, we were in these races, and sometimes we would race pathetically with the Olympic team because it became an Olympic sport. And we took coaching from Major Hall, who was the Olympic coach. And we'd find ourselves in these races, pathetically in these races. But one time, they were having a tandem race. And somebody had built these new boards that had 2 sails on one board. And all the Olympic sailors and all the expert sailors were there trying to figure out, how do you operate this for greatest speed? And they were going to have a big race. And at the last minute, they said, Holly, Corky, join the race. We got another tandem board free. Well, we didn't even get to practice. Everyone else was practicing all day. And we said, what are we going to do? We don't even know how to do this. And I said to Holly, well, let's just chant. We knew some Sanskrit chants. Let's just chant and have a good time. So we chanted. We're having a good time. We have no idea what we're doing. And we finished the race, and we come back, and someone said, oh, you came in first. And we're thinking, yeah, they're joking. So anyway, we go to the awards banquet after the few days of sailing, and we get awarded first place for winning the tandem race. As it turns out, there were very light winds. Holly and I are very light. We also didn't know what we were doing, so we had an advantage. We won the race.
Sailed across the line.
Unbelievable. We got an award and everything like that. So we're going to go back to doing another final song and say goodbye, but I want just to say...
Oh, you're going to show the pictures?
And I'm going to show the pictures.
Okay.
And upcoming... before New Year's, I'm going to do a thing on Auld Lang Syne. I really studied the song. I have some amazing things to share about it. And then also we're going to do on Friday this thing where John Prine was playing one rhythm and Jethro was playing another, and it worked. And they put it together, and it's what I call rhythmic dissonance. And everyone does it. I mean, all kinds of musicians do it. Jerry Lee Lewis, reggae. New Orleans, they all do it. And some people know what they're doing and a lot of people don't. But I really studied it, and I'm going to share with you the secrets of rhythmic dissonance, which I cannot help but use constantly in my music.
I think you mean Tuesday, because tomorrow is Friday, dearest.
Oh my gosh, I'm all confused.
I'm so confused.
So, I'm going to do a song
Yes, you
called
are.
Almost... Are you okay?
Yes.
Called Almost Fell Off.
Almost fell.
Almost crashed into the wall. And then we're going to say goodbye. Speaking of unrequited love, this is my most unrequited love song. Let me move this mic a little up. Okay. Existence was a getting to me. Binge watching Netflix on my Apple TV. There was nothing new here to help me survive. Not under the sun, not under the stars, not under my skin. And then you arrived. Oh, I had to keep my eyes half open, be blinded by the glare. When you walked into that Zoom and your aura flared, you took me right in and you loved me right there. And you flipped me out, you flipped me out, you flipped me out when you dropped me. Oh darling, love is all there is that makes the world go round. Love and only love can stop it. You gave my world a spin when you turned me on, but I almost fell off. I almost fell off. I almost fell off when you stopped it. Oh, all that you could take away from me was you. All that you could take, and you took it. You gave me quite a shake when you put me down. You shook me up. You shook me up. You shook me up. I just couldn't take it. Oh, darling, love is all there is. It makes the world go round. Love and only love can stop it. You gave my world a spin when you turned me on, but I almost fell on. I almost fell on. I almost fell on when you stopped it.
So you want to show them the photos?
Yes, I forgot. So windsurfing photos, first of all.
Cover boy.
1985. We're just learning to windsurf. Geo Traveler, National Geographic Traveler.
There's Corky
Windsurfing on Lake Michigan.
windsurfing on the cover.
And then a few years later.
The interior photo you want to show.
Oh, the interior?
Yes,
sure, why
there's
not?
a, this is a photo
It's
of
Warren Tanaka and the
all
rest of us. On the,
yeah, in Lake Michigan. And that's the city behind,
could you tell?
of course.
Okay. And here's a picture of Holly. Racing away. One hand, doing a jibe. In Lake Michigan. Well,
Zoom.
that was our live stream.
And
And we're going to Zoom now.
we'll see you Zoom.
And on
See you
the
very
chat,
soon.
we'll put the link for the Zoom. But again, our center of communication is corkymusic.com/stream. corkymusic.com/stream. So for live stream number 72, that's a goodbye. And thank you for joining us in our home.
Bye-bye. We'll see you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. See you soon, everyone. See you Zoom.